Is Springtrap bad? Good. A tier, S tier, D tier, garbage, lore accurate? I'm going to tell you in this video about exactly how I feel, an overall review, and what I think of the killer. Let's go ahead and hop into it. Timestamps down below for all the categories or topics we'll be covering today, and yeah, let's hop into it. I wrote down some stuff and how I feel about Springtrap, if he's good or not, some other things, and how I feel honestly about how behavior absolutely aced this killer. I think most importantly when it comes to a killer, like I know people, whenever it's tied to an IP, they care about cosmetics, what it looks like, if it's lore accurate, whatever, but I'm a DBD player, never played FNAF. I know people call it, people give me a hard time for saying FNAF, but I'm most worried about fun. Is it fun in Dead by Daylight? And I'll tell you right now, Springtrap is an absolute blast. I played him for like legit 6 hours on the PTV yesterday. I blinked and it was almost 1 a.m. and I literally had to get to bed because I had to wake up in the morning tomorrow just to be able to go to work, and I literally wasn't paying attention with what time it was. You have stealth gameplay, but also something I love about this killer, what makes it so fun, is you can almost mesh gameplays together, or play styles together rather. Being able to play like stealth or aggro or info, like there's so many different options, and I feel like they did that really well with his power and his map mobility power. The add-on selection is great, and with the add-on selection, it once again caters to playing any play style you want. I think being able to select certain ones give you that ability. And to be honest, Springtrap is just really fun. It seems like he's a pretty well-balanced killer at the moment. I know it's only the PTB, so we don't know exactly. We've only had our hands on him for 2 days at this point, but this guy is an absolute blast, and that's the most important thing when it comes to killer. I don't care how strong a killer is. If I'm having fun, that means it's a good killer in my opinion. Secondly, we'll just go ahead and get this out of the way because I know people really care. What tier is Springtrap the animatronic in? Once again, only the PTB, but if I had to guess, he's going to be anywhere from mid A to mid B, where he potentially could be. And why I think it kind of varies that much is because I think against SWFs, as long as like once he's out and been able to play him for a little bit, teamwork is going to be able to counteract this killer because of the cameras, and being able to manage their batteries, I think is going to be a very optimal thing for SWFs. So getting good with the camera and constantly revealing you and your aura constantly being revealed would be honestly pretty tough, to be honest. And something that like I guess could bring you down is you are a 4.4 killer with your axe, 4.6 without your axe. Playstyle once again kind of comes into play with how you want to use that, but like on maybe a larger map, because you're slower, yes, map mode, or you do have your teleport, but in the grand scheme of things, like if you can't get it to a teleport because survivors are constantly pressuring you, or you're gonna have to pressure a certain side of the map, whatever it is, I think that SWFs and maybe just good solo queue or duos, whatever, playing together can probably counteract this killer. Obviously, we don't know yet, but it seems like that's probably how it's gonna go. But why I can see A is one of the biggest things, and I saw Mr. Headache talk about this, and I was like, dude, he is actually really right. He literally has Xenomorph's teleport essentially, but Xenomorph has turrets to essentially slow down. Like you're not punished, but you're essentially getting punished for teleporting potentially. Nothing happens punishment wise when you teleport with Springtrap. If you go through a door, okay, awesome. If you go through a door or teleport at the same time a survivor's teleporting, awesome, you get a free grab. There's no punishment for it. Like in a weird way that actually, like obviously that makes him a pretty good killer. Like I mentioned earlier, has varying play styles you can mesh together within a match depending on circumstance to win. You can go stealth, you can go aggro, you can go info depending on your build obviously, and with add-ons, like I said once again earlier, that makes the play styles like you can do pretty much anything you want. Having a, as well as something else, is having I think a low skill floor, high skill ceiling. So that pretty much means if anybody doesn't know for whatever reason, easy to pick up, hard to master. So that obviously could potentially, some people can make this guy a mid A or low A. And the mid tier, I think like if you're just not going for crazy shots, you're doing the generic basic things, which isn't a bad thing by the way, I think that's where he'd probably be a mid B tier killer. And like I've been kind of talking about for a little bit, the next thing that's just so much fun is he kind of has a little bit of everything. Map mobility, range attack, can transition into an M1 killer with normal movement speed, can use range attack to become mega fast or break faster with certain add-ons. And his add-ons, there's so many gimmick ones, so many ones that actually help. Great Mori, which gameplay wise doesn't matter, but it is a really great Mori. A small terror radius, it can make it even smaller with monitor and abuse. A new pickup animation, which I know Wesker has this, but it's a little different. Kinda, you have to use M1 to grab your axe, but being able to insta pickup is pretty cool. I will say though, you are still able to be beamered. It happened to me in the PTB in one of my videos. videos. So you do have to watch out for that. It could be a setup play or something, but it's still really cool to have a new animation like that. You have stealth play options, chase build options, gen protection options, so many ways to play him. And it seems like I'm saying, like you're just, it's a killer that you'll be easy to pick up, hard to master. In my opinion, that's how you perfectly make a killer in Dead by Daylight. Springtrap honestly simply just has everything for everyone with any type of style of play. I know I've harped on his add-ons a little bit, but I just want to go back to his add-ons. This is how you make a killer in modern day DBD. Fun, quirky add-on options with some options that also allow like certain haste cooldowns, vault, pallet blocks, alternate ways to use power. And in my opinion, every killer moving forward should have an add-on like Celebrate Poster. What a fun add-on that can give you value, but not make you like beyond overpowered, since whatever buff you get from that add-on, the survivor that's being afflicted gets that exact same buff. I think every killer should have this legit. So I love, and just to sum it up, I love the way behavior took the direction of Springtrap's add-ons, and I really think he has some of the coolest add-ons in the game. Now, Springtrap Perks, I just want to say in general, I think in their own niche, they are very good. No meta-defining perks, but definitely some interesting niche perks that could have value every now and again in certain builds. It can sometimes be tough finding doors. Like I played a game on Swamp, and I'll tell you what, it was pretty difficult because all the door locations were completely out of the way and almost made no sense to use them. But I've also played the Pizzeria Map a lot, and for the most part, they have pretty good spawns for the doors. So I think it'll just be kind of map dependent on that. I did one match bring a cut coin, and it actually made the door spawns worse on the Pizzeria Map. So I don't know if it was a coincidence or not, but I know sometimes you can bring a cut coin, or all the time bring a cut coin, and it actually helps you with xenomorph teleports. So that was just something I tried, and I didn't see it didn't really help any at all. But kind of back to the good, the mobility aspect is perfect. Coming out a door with stealth is awesome, and the insta grabs you're able to get if a survivor's using the door at the exact same time is peak, dude. And then something I've kind of noticed, and I don't know myself if it goes against the survivor wiggle bar, that if you're too close to the hook, and I know this is kind of a scummy way to play, but if you hook someone and then you walk to a door, you don't ever have to go and teleport. You can just sit in that door and then cancel, and you come back out the same way, but without undetectable. So that is a way to play if you want. I don't know exactly how it's going to mesh with like perks or the wiggle bar like I was talking about, but that is, you know, it's scummy, but it is an option, so another way to play. Let's talk Pizzeria Map. We'll get away from Springtrap for just a little bit. I do kind of hate how it's not its own realm. I kind of understand why, but I do think this is such a big DLC. Why not make its own realm? But I mean, it's whatever. It's a smaller map, a good map. I like the realm it's on, to be fair. And the mid building is really good for Survivor. I think some other killers could just make it not necessarily obsolete, but deal with it better. I think the ghoul would definitely, if you don't know I'm a ghoul main, the ghoul would definitely struggle on this map. And in the main building specifically, I think everything else, the ghoul would be able to kind of dominate. But the main building is really good with certain windows and pallets. So it's just something we'll kind of have to see. Maybe they just keep it, because you're almost like push to vault. Like instead of outplaying, you can't outplay it, you have to vault. There's that, but it does look really awesome. But I don't really have a harsh feeling towards it. I just, the mid building is, it looks literally like a arcade kid place, so it fits the mold. I don't know how close it is lore wise or whatever to FNAF, but it looks really awesome. Now back to the bad, but not really the bad, because I think this killer is phenomenal, but some things that do frustrate me with Springtrap. This isn't really necessarily complaining, but I guess it kind of is at the same time, but I feel like it's justified. The battery dead beeping sound is overwhelming, and it needs to stop or be lowered at some point. I know you have to tell the killer and the player that like, hey, their battery's dead, so you don't have to worry about camera reveal or whatever, but something has to change because it's constant. It's all you ever really hear. The static reveal is just, it's good for info, but it is pretty loud. I wouldn't change anything on that other than, you know, make it less loud. I would say was probably the only thing I would change. And other than those, that's honestly it. That's all I really have to complain about. Just kind of annoying sounds, but gameplay wise, I've yet to find something annoying. Usually in a PTB, it takes a couple hours and then you're like, oh, I don't like this. I'm starting to notice this. I have not had that issue yet, and I've played probably 10 hours total at this point, or 6 hours. I don't know. I've been playing quite a while, and I haven't really noticed anything. But I think it's going to be kind of in the situation of like Wesker and Unknown. I think balance-wise, he's going to be really good with minimal changes. Obviously, Wesker eventually here within the last couple months or several months, however long ago it was at this point, he got some hinder changes off hook, and the Unknown has gone relatively unchanged since his release, which is one of the most perfect release killers of all time. And I think Springtrap is going to be in that exact same category. But if I had to, if someone had a gun to my noggin and said, make a change to Springtrap in DBD right now, or I'm not offing you. I don't know, try to make it YouTube friendly. As a killer main, I would change the Fox's Hook to be base kit, to be honest. Not fully base kit. I think what I would do is make it base kit, but 5% haste for 5 seconds. And then the add-on itself would be changed to a purple, and then it adds an additional 5% haste for an additional 2 seconds. So then that's 7 seconds total for 10%. So it's exact same how it is now, only a purple plus 1 extra second. And that's the only change I would make, is maybe just make it semi base kit. Gameplay wise, I don't really have anything I would change. I think that's the only add-on, because when you're using, I can see myself as an aggro player that likes to move fast. That's why I like the ghoul. I'm gonna be running that add-on unless it's a specific build video. Anytime I play Springtrap, I will be running that add-on. You can use it strategically at loops like you can a clown bottle. And I think it being somewhat base kit, make the rarity higher on Foxy's Hook, and then kind of mess with the haste a little bit. That's what I would change. It's totally not needed. It's not necessary, by the way. But if like I was strong-armed into making a change, that's the one change I guess I would do. And then to wrap it all up, FNAF fans, FNAF fans, just how I want to end the video on, because I've been seeing a lot of people complain about certain things of the killer, and most notably, well, first off, I want to say I'm not a hater, okay? I'm not telling you your feelings are unjustified. I'm just saying they're wrong. No, I'm just kidding. But I've never consumed any FNAF content, okay? I'm out of the loop, lore design and everything in between, but it's been stated and implied that the creator or owner of FNAF has a heavy hand in the design of this killer. So the whole axe debate I've been seeing on Twitter, Reddit, everything is essentially about how it's not accurate. Now, I would assume, because how it's been presented, is that the owner had a like kind of heavy hand on how this killer was designed. So, you know, if the guy that, you know, made the IP says it's okay, then how about let's just let it be okay. And what I'm mainly saying to end this video off is don't hate the design because of certain things already, especially if you haven't played the PTB, and especially if you've only watched the PTB and haven't played it at all yourself. Don't make your opinion on others. Make sure you get your own hands on it, figure it out yourself, and go from there. Wait for release, play for a bit, and then form your own opinion accordingly is how I have this script finished. It's a very loose script, by the way. I pretty much just bullet point and ramble. This is how all these talking videos go. But let me know what you think. Have you got your hands on Springtrap? What do you think of the killer? In my opinion, like I said earlier, mid A, mid B. I think depending on the person that's controlling them is where the tier is going to kind of depend on. I hope you enjoyed. Let me know if you enjoyed this video. Leave a like. I would really appreciate it. Springtrap has been so much fun, and I'm out of here. Deuces.